Welcome to the Financial Freedom for Gen X.
I think also, if you look historically, and I think we've touched on this before as well, is really the whole trying to create this divide. Is it the people are, it's almost like it's an uprising. We see so many TV programs and movie series and all the rest of it, like the Hunger Games and all of that. That was the first one that came to mind, where it ends up being the capital that ends up running, and then there's an uprising of the people. And is that really where we're going? We talk about recessions and then depressions, and what is it that usually is required to pull the world out of a world depression? Because really, if you look at the numbers, that's where we're going. It's with the numbers on, I think it was Nine News, came out this morning. 350, this is just in Victoria, not in the whole of Australia, but just in Victoria, one state, they have 350 businesses per day that are closing their doors forever. Whether the owners are having to declare in Chapter 11 bankruptcy or whatever it is, it's 350 a day. It's mind-blowing to try and calculate how many people are going home heartbroken, destitute, just destroyed on the inside, that their love, their passion, all the effort that they've put into creating their business is gone.
And what's the other one? The mortgages as well.
The mortgage.
We've got the highest default rate of mortgages that we've had in
ever in
past
history, I believe.
Yeah, in the past 20 years.
Yeah, it's really quite phenomenal. And, which is where I'm always looking at, like, how we're going to make things work for us. So if, hypothetically speaking, you were to look at your finances today as like ground zero. I'm nearly 51 in a couple of months, and Steve's just last Monday just turned 54. So we are definitely Gen Xers, and it's like, well, okay, so hypothetically speaking, if we were one of those families who's just had to close their doors for their business, and that was their income source. And usually small business owners, they don't necessarily have sufficient income coming through after all of their costs are covered to go, I need to pay my 11.5% or 12% superannuation, and do I have a debt now that I've got to try and clear, and all of those sort of things. If they're the same age as we are, they've got technically another 15 years of being in the workforce, which is all fine and dandy. But if we're heading into a depression, which is where it looks like we're going, usually in a depression, unemployment rates are up at around 33 to 35%. So we're sitting, about 3 or 4% at the moment. And if you think about how many businesses are going under, Rio Tinto just laid off 120 people. Boom, gone.
And then hired contractors to put them in place, put it in their place. So it's like, because if they have a contractor, they don't have to pay superannuation, they don't have to pay any leave loading or anything like that. It's very much a you come work, and as a contractor we can kick you out within a week depending on what your pay cycle is, and
And also the wages that people do still have, if they still have a job, because the company hasn't gone under. When you look at also, it's not just Australia, like 350 a day in just Victoria, but if you're having a look at more of a macro approach for the whole world, you've got companies that have been around forever. When I was in my late teens, it was super cool. Everyone at school had at least one country road bag. So no, I don't think Country Road's gone under, but you've got companies like Rip Curl, and Billabong, huge surfing brands. Tupperware's been around for decades.
Tupperware cream.
I have so much Tupperware. I really do. It's the best stuff. But, you've got so many big companies that are going under, and they were the income sources for so many people. So if you have a look at the knock-on effect of that, if you don't have a job and you've got a mortgage and you've just paid premium price for a mortgage, which is where we're at the top of this bubble that we've got for our housing at the moment, Our wages haven't gone up. In fact, we've now got people with no wages, and they don't have any reserve or a cash like slurry fund in the background just in case. So many people live paycheck to paycheck, and all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, I can't pay my mortgage.
What was that?
Mortgage defaults
Yeah.
are the highest
yes.
in the last quarter that they have been in decades.
And Australia is leading the way. This is according to the latest statistics
debt to
by
income.
CBA, Bloomberg, RBA, Stats New Zealand, and Macro Bond. Australia is currently holding the highest percentage
of debt to income ratio. It's a little scary.
I mean,
it really is.
Like, we watched a program yesterday, which is an Australian stats company that produced it, where they said that Australians are tending to live more on credit cards to dial them out of debt.
Yep.
To be able to live on a day-to-day basis,
which is insane, because really a credit card is
got
debt.
the highest interest rate as well.
It is.
But it's the quickest and easiest way to access money, which it's ridiculous.
And I know that there's a big call for the pressuring of the RBA to try and lower interest rates to put ease on the cost of living crisis that we've currently got. Australia finds ourselves, and we put ourselves here, so taking ownership of it is that we've effectively put ourselves here. We have got a country with the most phenomenal resources, and instead of producing it, then manufacturing product from the stuff that we've just mined or farmed or whatever it is, we outsource it overseas because it's better and cheaper for us. And then we pay more for it to come back into Australia. So us as Australians, we're paying for it to go overseas, even though it's our stuff to start with. It's just, it's mind-blowing. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Here's the thing, okay? I cannot find an Australian company that builds steel.
Because we don't have one.
So, to the viewers, please drop me a message in the link in the comments below, and let me know if you do. From my understanding, we tend to ship all of our steel all of our iron ore overseas. It then gets converted to steel, and then we import it back in again. Yeah. Latest joke that we heard this morning was the fact that the eastern states, Sydney, Melbourne, Queensland, are having to look at purchasing LPG from other countries and bringing it back to Australia because they're running short, because we are not producing enough LNG, in the eastern states to be able to comfortably run households, which is another reason why they're taking gas out of households.
Yeah.
Because our DOM gas system in Australia, which is domestic gas, it is antiquated. It is old. Karratha has got a DOM gas plant, and last time I checked, they were still doing maintenance on it, and it's a regular high maintenance situation with it. Again, that's last time I checked, which was a couple of years ago. It could be totally different now. But they're having to look at building a new jetty, a new infrastructure, and everything else to be able to import gas. Why? Well, why are we cutting ourselves short and then having to buy it back from other countries that we're originally selling it to?
Because that's the way in which we've now got everything set up. But what concerns me is that we are going to go into not just a country depression, we're going into a worldwide depression. And history shows that the way in which to get out of a depression is in fact to have a world war. Now, do I think it's going to be a nuclear war? No, I don't. And I truly hope that I'm correct on that.
It's going to be a technology war.
I think it's actually going to be honest, I think it's going to be a civil war. I think there is going to be such an enormous uprising, which brings back to what I was saying before. There's an uprising of the people. If you look at some of the videos in Britain at the moment, in London, and even though you can call me a Trumper if you like, I really don't care. I think with watching what has transpired in the last 4 weeks of Donald Trump coming into power, is that it's almost like it's given the other leaders of other countries around the world the whole, do you know what?